What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you the next deep dive analysis, whatever you want to call it, for all the teams in the 2021 NFL season. Today at number 30, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I know this is a team that a lot of people think is better than they really are, and really, where they're going to perform this year is not where they should be performing. But there are many different circumstances and just little things that I feel like is going to add up to a pretty poor season on the Eagles' part. So starting off the quarterback room, it's obviously pretty bad. Jalen Hurts is a big X factor, but the Eagles have made it very clear that he's not their future. They don't want him to be their future for some reason, even though I've liked what I've seen. I actually think he could play well this year and could lift them to a few more wins than I predict they will have. He's still a backup to me right now. He really shouldn't be starting, but he will be starting for these guys unless he's just that bad. Joe Flacco will be stepping in, who is also one of the, not good quarterbacks of the NFL. He's one of the worst backups because, he used to be good, but I feel like he used to be majorly carried by the Ravens. And now that he's, not on that team and he's older and stuff, Joe Flacco just, he's not good. And then Nick Mullen is actually a pretty decent, number 3 guy. One of the more better, deep string guys in the NFL. But overall, this quarterback room is really, really weak. I wouldn't say it's as bad as the Texans, because at least with Jalen Hurts, you have a nice young upside guy, and Flacco can play somewhere near decent at times, but overall it's still a pretty bad room. So D+ here. Running back room, it's a bit better. Miles Sanders is I think pretty overrated. I think a lot of people are already saying he's going to be this great running back and he's already a top 20 guy. I don't agree. He's super fast, yes, but beyond that, I really don't think he's anything else. Kerryon Johnson, I really do like. Injuries have kind of played a part in his non-production or progression so far with the Lions. Not coming to a much better team here with the Eagles, but I do expect if he stays healthy, I think he can emerge as one of the better running backs. And then Jordan Howard is a fine enough number 3. The depth isn't anything crazy to talk about on the Eagles. So overall, they have some nice young players. There is still decent depth at least. It's a C+. There's no one special in this room, and there's no guarantees that anyone here is going to be breaking out this year or anything. But it is still a pretty good room. At least there's definitely worse in the NFL. So. There's definitely worse. Wide receiver room, it still needs a lot of help. I feel like people think taking Devontae Smith all of a sudden just... I remember I just did a mock draft with Broshmo. Go check that out if you want to. I gave Treylon Burks to the Eagles, and that got called a stupid pick by one individual. Now, of course, that's one person. But, taking Devontae Smith does not fix your receiving issues. Even then, I really don't know how much of an impact Devontae Smith is going to make. A lot of people were when I had him as my number 3 receiver, he won the Heisman, he's this great receiver. He's super undersized, and I don't think he's a number 1. I think at best he's an elite number 3 and an elite screen bubble type guy. He's not cut out to be a number 1. Now, the Eagles are going to try to make him the number 1, but he's just so undersized. I'm concerned about potential injuries with him. Travis Fulgham showed some nice things last season for the Eagles, so we'll see what he does. Jalen Reagor is a good slot receiver, and he's literally nothing else than that. So, he's my number 3 here. Quez Watkins, he was fine as well. John Hightower, I did like coming out of Boise State, it was, believe. But he's still nothing special, and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside has been one of the biggest disappointments of the last 5 years draft-wise. So overall, Smith has a ton of upside, and he could be similar to an Antonio Brown type. And obviously, if you get a player like that, that's great. I don't think he's Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is a freak player beyond the off-field issues. When it comes to using his size to his advantage and really not getting hurt and stuff, I don't see that from Devontae Smith. So this receiver room is still very poor. There's upside. It's young. There is some talent, but it's still a C+ to me because it definitely still needs upgrading. So a guy like Treylon Burks, in my opinion, is exactly what this team needs. But tight end room, definitely, besides the offensive line, the best part of this team. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert make up probably the best tight end duo in the NFL. Now, Zach Ertz been declining, and he's not the best anymore. He used to be a top 3 tight end, but not anymore. Dallas Goedert, on the other hand, is really quickly, excelling in that number 2 role. And I think, if he can, I think this could be the year where he takes that major step and takes over Ertz. If they don't trade Ertz, which they still very well could. And then Richard Rodgers is actually one of the best, depth tight ends in the league. Now, PFF like ranks him as like, if you went off of PFF grade, I think it was a couple seasons ago or whatever, he was technically the third best tight end in the NFL, but that's just when he's on the field. But when he is on the field, he's very productive. So overall, this is maybe the deepest tight end room in the NFL, because all three of these guys are very good, capable starters. But I just feel like, no one's on that like elite level yet, which is why it keeps out of an A. But it's definitely the best part of this offense so far, and it's a really nice tight end room here for the Eagles. Left tackle room, Andre Dillard. I don't expect anything special from him. A lot of people think he might break out. I really don't see that. I love Jordan Mailata. He's an awesome dude. Like he's on a Good Morning Football a lot. And he's just this really cool dude. But like as an overall player, like he's a big, powerful guy, but not much more than us. Brett Toth. It's a D room. There's no one here who I even think is starter capable, and I don't see that anytime soon from Dillard or Mailata, if at all. So it's a pretty weak room here for the Eagles. Probably the worst of the offensive line. The left guard room is definitely better, but still could use a bit of work. Now, Landon Dickerson. I love Landon Dickerson. If this guy stays healthy, which apparently is a big concern for him right now, I do believe he'll be an elite guard in the NFL. I think if he would have played a full healthy season this year, he would have been a first-round pick and probably would have gone over AVT. So, obviously he has a fantastic talent. He's a leader. He can play that guard and center. If he stays healthy, which again is a big concern right now because that's why he fell so far in the draft, I think he'll be an elite guard, or even an elite center if you really want a replacement for like Jason Kelce. And once he retires or whatever. But it's about staying healthy, and the injury concerns are very concerning. Isaac Seumalo. I'm gonna say Seumalo. He's a capable enough backup. I don't think he's a starter, which he kind of has. I'm pretty sure he was starting for them this last year. So, and then Asoa Opeda, never heard of him. So overall, it's a C+ right now because, they have a capable backup. And Landon Dickerson, once again, if he stays healthy, will be an elite guard. It's just, will he stay healthy? That's the big question mark. So that's going to be a C+ here for this room. Center room is going to get a B. I love Jason Kelce. He's been super consistent. He's one of the best in the NFL. But I am kind of expecting a little bit of regression this year. He's starting to get up there in a little bit in age. Now, offensive linemen are, besides quarterback, the other position that doesn't really, get bad with age. But that doesn't guarantee every player will. So regardless, you might see a little bit of regression. Really what brings this down to a B, even though Jason Kelce is such a great center, is just the depth. I don't know either of these guys. I just kind of want to pronounce the number 3 guy for fun. Ross Pierschbacher? It's a fun name, but it's very bad depth. Kelce, great center, but I'm expecting a little bit of regression and just really bad depth. I'm going to give this one a B. If Kelce doesn't regress, then obviously it's better than that, but I expect a little bit from him and just not depth at all. So, right guard room. I'm going to give it a B-. I think Brandon Brooks is great. I don't think he's as good as Jason Kelce, though. I think he's another one of those guys that's a little overrated. This Eagles offensive line is really good, don't get me wrong, but they've been dealing with some injuries, especially Brandon Brooks, and there's still a reason why they've been, for the most part, a very bad offense, because I feel like these guys are a little bit overrated. Brandon Brooks, like I said, is one of the better guards in the NFL, but once again, the depth is just really hurting here, and I think you take the fact that Brooks has been dealing with injuries recently, and, he's just, I don't think he's as good as Jason Kelce. I'm going to take it down just to B-, but once again, if Brooks plays fine, then obviously it's up, and just the depth, again, is pretty bad, so that's going to get a B- for me here. And then a right tackle room, probably the best room on this offensive line. Lane Johnson, still one of the best tackles in the NFL, has been for a long time, obviously. But Jack Driscoll is also a very capable backup. I really liked him coming out of college. I'm forgetting where he came out of right now. But I think he's a very capable backup, and I've always really liked Jack Driscoll. And then I don't know who Raven Clark is. I saw his name a lot on the Colts, and I think he started a little bit, potentially, but I could be wrong about that. But overall, it's easily the best, position on this line because you have an elite starter, probably the best starter of the offensive line, and a pretty capable backup. So that's going to get a B+ from here. Again, it's not an A because Jack Driscoll isn't the best backup in the world. Lane Johnson isn't the best right tackle in the world, but it's still a B+ for me. So moving on to the defense. left end room is going to get a B plus for me. Yeah, this Eagles defensive line is stacked. I mean, you have Brandon Graham, who first Pro Bowl appearance, really that should not have been his first Pro Bowl appearance. He was great last year, though. He's one of the better guys in the NFL. Josh Sweat is a capable backup, but I also really love the upside on Teron Jackson, and I think he's a fantastic fit in this Eagles defense. The defensive tackle room is also very good. It's the first A rating on this list. You have Fletcher Cox, who I do believe is starting to decline. I don't think he's as great as he once was, but he is still like a top 15 defensive tackle in the NFL. Javon Hargrave is probably the best number 2 defensive tackle in the league. So he's great to have across from Fletcher Cox. And then you have Milton Williams, who I'm listing a defensive tackle, but if you watch my defensive tackle rankings, I was a big fan of Milton Williams. He was my number 3 guy. Like, he has that super nice versatility across the line. He's a fantastic run defender and just that line setter as well. So having him in this room just adds the depth to it. This is easily an A. Now, it's not like an A or an A plus because, again, I don't believe Fletcher Cox is that elite player, but this is a super good, super talented, super deep defensive tackle room. And then the right end room, probably the worst of here, but I still do think, it's a C plus. It could be a lot worse. Derek Barnett, I mean, he's fine. He's shown flashes, but Ryan Kerrigan as a backup, I feel like that's really more should be his role right now, is that backup leader. And I think that's fantastic. I think he's also a great fit on the Eagles. So it's a C plus, but I like it a bit more than it may seem because, again, this defensive line is so freaking good that to where, if the right end isn't as good and you have a great mentor behind him, I still like the room overall. So it's a C plus, not quite a B because of the talent, but it is a C plus for me. So left outside linebacker room. Yeah. So I just kind of go with the same for 3-4 and 4-3. I know it's different, but I kind of just keep to the same scheme, but it's a D plus. The linebacker room is definitely not even close to as good as the pass rush room. And of course, the Eagles aren't a team that value the linebackers all that much. But yeah, Alex Singleton, and there could be a combination of different ways people start here. But Alex Singleton is not a very good linebacker. He really shouldn't be a starter. Jernard Avery has shown flashes, and I like Jacoby Stevens, but we'll see how he plays in the NFL. The inside linebacking room is going to get a C plus. I do like Eric Wilson. He was one of my favorite free agents of this year's class. I think he's a really nice fit here for the Eagles, and I expect him to upgrade that. Just make that linebacking unit play so much better than they really are. And then TJ Edwards, is probably a pretty capable backup. As a starter, I wouldn't have liked him, but as a backup, he's fine. And then Rashad Smith, yeah, it's a C plus. Oh, again, not a B because of the talent. Eric Wilson isn't a great linebacker. TJ Edwards isn't a great backup, but it's still a pretty nice overall compared to the rest of the linebacking unit. Yeah, and then the right outside room is going to get a C. Davion Taylor, I never really liked him as a draft pick, but he's shown a bit of flashes. And then I don't know who Shad Bradley is, but Patrick Johnson, though, I liked that pick. Maybe a little bit early for my taste, but I still do like him as a player and his upside. So it's going to receive a C. Once again, definitely no one special here, but I do like the youth and the upside of this room. So yeah, that's going to get a C here for me. Cornerback room is also going to get a C. Now, you have Darius Slay, obviously, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. In fact, I actually think he really does not get the credit he deserves. He single-handedly last year kind of, kept this defense somewhat afloat. He was, besides, Fletcher Cox, was really the only decent player on this defense last year. And by decent, I mean he was a great player, but, you can only do so much by yourself, especially as a cornerback. I really don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He is an amazing corner. The big reason why this room is just a C, though, is because the depth is really lacking. I mean, Avonte Maddox is your number 2, is one of the worst number 2s in the NFL. Really, he should not be starting. Craig James is Craig James. He's not, again, probably shouldn't be your number 3. He's a decent depth piece at best. Beyond that, I didn't have the other corners here, but because that's literally how blank this room is. Because it's so bad. I think the only other guy I can really think of off the top of my head is Crevan LeBlanc, and even then, that's just because I had his golden ticket in Madden. He's not good either. So it's you have such a good player at the top, but he can only do so much for you when the rest of the room just sucks. So I'm gonna give it a C here, but we'll see, because Darius Slay, again, is one of the best corners in football, but we'll see. Strong safety room. Gonna get a D plus. Rodney McLeod, I think it's how you say it, unless it's lead. Rodney McLeod is like fine as a safety. Like I don't think he should be starting. I might actually prefer Andrew Adams starting, but I don't think he will. I do like Andrew Adams. He played pretty well at times for the Buccaneers last year. And he kind of did a little bit more than people think he did, but he's kind of still not a good safety. But I think I'd prefer him as the starter here if you had to. I don't know who Elijah Riley is, but this is a pretty poor safety room. It could be worse. Like there are worse rooms like the Lions and stuff, but still not the best. So it's going to get a D plus here for me. And then the free safety room is going to get a C plus. Like Anthony Harris is a bit better, obviously, than Andrew Adams and Rodney McLeod. He was a kind of a one-year wonder. I don't expect him to return to that form here with the Eagles. So I feel like in a way it was a good value like pickup, but I still don't think he's going to be like even worth that value because I just really think he was a big one-year wonder. Marcus Epps is a fine enough backup. And the Kevon Wallace, I actually really like. I think I love the upside on him. So it's a C plus here because again, you don't really have anyone here that's like good, but it's a nice young, not a young, you have one young player, but it's a nice like just depth and stuff. So it's gonna get a C plus for me, but it could be worse, it could be better. And then the special teams room, Jake Elliott and Aaron Siposs, I mean, they make up a fine kicking punter duo. Jake Elliott's a good kicker, but he's kind of what brings us up to a D plus. Greg Ward, I mean, you could really slot anyone in here, but I'm just going to put Greg Ward here. Return unit isn't going to be that good. Punter is meh, and I like the kicker. That's what pretty much takes it up to a D plus here. But besides that, it's obviously not that big a deal, but it's nothing special to talk about. And then just looking at taking a quick look at their schedule, I mean, it's a pretty weird schedule, to be honest, because obviously we just discussed how the Eagles are really not that good of a team. They have some great players at certain spots, but lacking in depth at a lot of places. I mean, Falcons could be a toss-up. Niners, that's a tough game. Cowboys, it's a tough game. Chiefs, that's a loss. Panthers, I mean, I think the Panthers are going to start out hot, so that's a tough game. Buccaneers, I mean, that's a loss. The Raiders is a toss-up. Lions is a toss-up. Chargers is a toss-up. At home it's a toss-up. I mean, Broncos, that's a tough game. Saints, that's a tough game. Giants, tough. Jets, tough. Washington, tough. You have no easy games because the Eagles themselves are such a bad team. Like even games against the Lions and the Raiders are not going to be easy games because the Eagles themselves are bad. A lot depends on Jalen Hurts. Now, I know I said that there were some other circumstances. Really, the number one reason I don't believe in this team, because they are a better team than I think they'll play this year. They have some great players at certain positions. I mean, you see 5 of them right here. But I don't like the front office. This is probably my least favorite front office in the NFL besides the Packers. I think Nick Sirianni is a puppet on, I'm forgetting the owner's name, but I feel like he's a puppet on his fingers. I think they brought in Sirianni basically just to take the blame whenever they have a loss, and that's pretty much it. I mean, he didn't even call plays for there in Indianapolis. He didn't even call plays, so he's not going to be a good play caller or anything over here. He's definitely far from a good defensive coach. I don't like the rest of their coaching staff. I don't like any. Well, they don't have a culture. Their owner is a guy that doesn't like to spend money and make stupid decisions. Their general manager is also a stupid guy. So overall, I like some of the talent on this team, but when you have such a tough schedule and you're lacking in such important depth in so many places, you don't have a quarterback as of right now. And even then, when you have a guy that I personally like, they don't even want to play him. The front office sucks so much. I just don't see this team doing that well. They're my number 30 ranked team. And they're probably going to stay there unless something drastic happens. But that is my analysis for the Eagles next year. My number 30 ranked team. If you guys did like the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.